Hi guys, welcome to Learn Electronics Repair. I have a motherboard here. This belongs to a customer. He brought it in and asked me if I could have a look at it. This has some sort of nostalgic or personal value to him, and he tells me that he was recapping the motherboard, but it still doesn't work. So for some reason he's been recapping the motherboard. So let's have a look at what we have here. Well, we have a bag of capacitors, so we can have a look at those. And here is the board. Let's take a look at these capacitors first. Okay, so we have some new capacitors. This one is a, let's see, 1500 microfarad, 6.3 volts. Another one of those. We have two bad ones of the same value, 1500, 6.3. So you would assume that these have been removed from the board and these are replacements. Again, we have some smaller ones. These are 1000 microfarad, 6.3 new ones, and a couple of faulty ones. And they are faulty. You can see these are domed on top of them. So those are the bad capacitors. Now I had a look at this board just before making this video, and I actually contacted the owner because I've had a look around this and I can't see any places where capacitors are being removed, okay, and not replaced. There's lots of Kapton tape on it, which I'm actually going to remove so I can see the thing properly. But all the capacitors that are on the board appear to be okay. So it would seem that the faulty ones have already been replaced and I have some spare ones. I did ask him about that and he said yes, those are some spare capacitors. I thought you might need them. So it's been recapped, but for whatever reason this still isn't working. What I don't know is whether the problem is the same as it was before or what the problem before was. So I think we'll just start with this one from scratch. We'll check for some short circuits. If not, we'll power it up and let's see what it does. But first of all, I'll remove all this Kapton tape. Looks like they've been using hot air if they have so much Kapton tape on. But that would be a rather strange way to recap a board. I don't really see why you would do that. But anyway, it's a mystery, yeah. But we have to just start from the beginning, I think. Okay. So that's all the tape off. There is still bits of tape stuck on top of some of the capacitors. But I'm not too worried about that. There's a bit more down here. I'll just find the tweezers. Okay. And we have this ready to check. This is a little audio adapter that for whatever reason plugs onto the board. It may have a sound card effectively on there. But I think we'll take that off for now and let's have a look. This is a DFI motherboard then. We can see the model number, I guess, is here. Let's get the multimeter. Okay, we're on ohms range. This looks like a good ground. What have we got? So this is the 12 volt connector. And that's not short. This side will be connected to ground anyway, so that's fine. There's no short there. On the 12 volts, I'm quite happy to power this up on a known good power supply. And let's see what it does. I'm going to just use my test heatsink. This will just balance on top of here with a bit of luck. Yeah, that's fine. This could be actually the model number, NF4 LANparty, rather than the larger number. Let's see where the fan connects. Well, it goes here, CPU fan. Okay. There we go. Just remove a bit more Kapton tape I've just spotted. Okay, we're good to go. There's no RAM in, so if anything, this will bleep if it does power up at all. Let's see. Well, power's on, what happens? Some LEDs light up and it's bleeping. Well, that's saying there's no RAM, so I don't know what's supposed to be wrong with this motherboard. Let's get some RAM. Okay, I have some RAM. We'll give it a try. I have two 1 gig strips here. Nice and positive. Okay. And let's see if this has onboard video out. No, it doesn't, so I'll have to find a known good graphics card. This will do quite nicely, I think. Okay, I have it balanced on a box. I have it all ready to go. Let's try it. Well, one bleep. Do we have a picture? We certainly do. I'm not sure what's supposed to be wrong with this. Let's take a hard drive and see if we can load an OS on here. Now, what should I run on it? I'll put the CMOS battery in. I have some drives with XP on, which is probably the right era. If not, I'll just try the Windows 7 or 10. Let's see if we get into an OS. I have it ready with a hard drive to boot up. I haven't tried it just yet. I've just noticed that the connector for the CPU fans, a 3-pin one, and my 4-pin fan that I normally use is not actually compatible with this pin out. It wasn't spinning. So I have a 3-pin one here. Hopefully that will work. The other thing I'm going to do is plug this little thing back on again, just in case this is in some way related to the fault. Okay, so that goes in there. Let's try it. Well, all the fans are spinning now. One bleep. Yeah, it's booting up. Let's see if it'll load the hard drive. This is a Windows 7. I don't know if it is good or if it's corrupted, so we'll find out. Well, it didn't actually see, or did it? Yes, it did see the hard drive. But it doesn't seem to find a boot device, okay? Let's see. Overloading operating system. Okay, let me try one of my XP drives. This is a IDE drive, so we'll use this one. Windows XP Service Pack 3. Okay. Well, it wants to try and load it. Looks like it didn't see the USB keyboard. Not unusual with older motherboards. You usually have to boot the OS first with a PS2 and then it'll work. But let's just let it try and boot from this. And it crashed. I don't know again if this is actually a good installation. I'll try another one, and if it doesn't work, I'll actually install XP from the DVD. I have another XP here. This one's SATA. And this one at least is trying to load. And crashed. Okay, so maybe we do have a problem with this motherboard. I think the next thing I will do is to put a clean installation of Windows XP on from the original DVD or CD. Okay, so it's now installed all the files onto the hard drive. Let's see if it's actually managed to complete the installation of XP. Okay, and once more it restarts. I'll just wait a few seconds, it won't pick from the CD. There we go. Let's see if it's now installed. Okay. I'm not answering that. It will be one of these nuisance calls, no doubt. Today is a public holiday here. Thursday and Friday before Easter are public holidays, so it definitely can't be a company calling me, and customers don't use that number. Okay, and we're in Windows XP. I'll try now to load the drivers. I'm going to do this using SDI or Snappy Driver Installer. This is a very, very good way of loading drivers on machines, particularly ones like this where we may not easily find the original drivers. So let's use SDI. This is quite simple, just insert the USB. Okay, it's found it. Let's see if it runs. It can't read the format of this disk. I have another one. Let me try that. In fact, let me just try again. No, okay. We'll try this then. Okay, this is SDI. And we can see the various drivers that are not installed. Okay, so these all saying driver available. There's some device that it doesn't recognize, it isn't in the driver pack. And then these are things that are installed, but there's more optimal drivers. Okay, so let's install the ones which are not installed yet. Okay, I'm not totally sure the GeForce GT640 actually supports XP, but we're going to find out. Okay, I'll create a restore point and let's try. Okay, and that's done. It's just saying we need to restart. The message I have here, by the way, about being compromised with a virus, there is no virus on this USB drive. It just has some other things on as well as SDI. I don't get that error on the one I normally use, but these older machines won't recognize whatever the format is of that drive. Okay, but this is purely for test purposes anyway. This is not for use, so I really am not worried about that. SDI, by the way, is completely and totally free. It's absolutely excellent. I will put the link to the download in this video. If you don't have this, get yourself a 32 or 64 gig drive USB, and it's just a wonderful thing, I have to say. Okay, so let's do what it says here, which is to restart, and then let's see if it boots. I'll just switch it off. I will remove the CD now. I will remove my USB and we will restart. And you can see, guys, it is working. So this raises some interesting points now, which we'll have to talk about, yeah? I mean, obviously I need to speak to the owner to ask him what the problem was with this motherboard, because as far as I can see, it's working just fine. Okay, I didn't test everything, like all of the ports or the audio out and such like. So if he says there's some specific problem in those areas, then I'll have to try it. But from what I can see, it's good. Now, I operate a no fix, no fee repair service. And the basic reason for that is quite simple. If a customer brings something in and I can't fix it because I'm not good enough, I don't have enough knowledge, or I don't have the correct equipment by accepting the job, then, well, that's not the customer's fault, it's my fault, yeah? So why should the customer pay for something that's not their fault? It's my fault, so I operate no fix, no fee. But in the case of this, well, did I fix it? I mean, it's working, yeah? I'm going to give this back to the customer, and hopefully he'll be watching this so we can chat about that. Yeah, guy, Guillermo, by the way, his name, Guillermo. Shout out to you, mate. You can see your motherboard is working. Let us know in the comments, please, if the problem is in some area I haven't looked at yet. But I'm going to give this motherboard back in a working condition. And therefore, as far as I can see, I did fix it. Even if I don't know what I did, maybe I just put some good RAM in it, or a good graphics card, or a good power supply on it. But whatever I did, maybe it was a software issue all along, reinstalling the operating system clean, but I did something and it's working, yeah? So, as far as I see it, in this case, I could say, look, I didn't do anything, but I did, yeah? So, it is working, and this is a repair I would charge for on that basis. But I'm really, really interested to know what you guys think, yeah? Do you think the customer should pay you if you can't do the job? Is it his fault that you can't fix it? Do you think the customer should pay when you got it working, even though you don't know and you can't say, look, it was this or it was that, it's working, yeah? So I'm sure that's going to be a very interesting topic for discussion. Hope you enjoyed this one. You just see another side of repair. Sometimes it's just like this, yeah? I don't know when I start these videos, but I do know I promised the owner that there would be a video. So there you are. Okay? Comments below, guys, and I look forward to seeing you all soon on another Learn Electronics Repair video. Ciao for now, guys.